commodity business, converted that into a very high value add business worth $3.2 billion. The next one will make you laugh, right? And I hope you have whiter teeth when you laugh. How many of you have heard about this? It's called a Colibri toothbrush. Now this just came out, it was in the news about a couple of months back. Effectively, it's an internet connected toothbrush, right? And what it's doing is, it basically, as you're brushing, it is sending enough data about your brushing back to a server, which then aggregates the data and presents it back to you. It is able to identify how much plaque you have and how much plaque it was able to reduce. It is able to find cavities. It is able to see if you have gums that are bleeding. It is able to then say and suggest to you that looks like you haven't gone to the dentist in a while. Do you want help in me scheduling a dental visit for you? This is all reality, right? And, oh, by the way, your kid only brushed for 10 seconds this morning, which is the one I really care about. So my son only brushed for 10. So can you imagine the possibilities? Now suddenly, in my family at least, between my kids, I will be having these brushing competitions and they'll be all looking at this app going, I brushed more and I completed more, right? But that's not where the value is. The value is going to be in the fact that we'll be able to use this data then and create a whole new business model where suddenly, I'm sure somebody's going to buy this for $500 million or something, where ultimately what they're selling is a $5 toothbrush, right? But this is the power of, you can take these concepts and you're able to then create a huge business out of it, or you're transforming an existing business and identifying all these white space opportunities that you probably never had before. This technology can also get used for social causes. And I'll give you one example. We at Microsoft were very heartbroken and in a lot of anger when the Nirbhaya incident happened, last year. And we wanted to do something about that. And so we started thinking about, how can we use all of our Microsoft infrastructure and technology to be able to do something that would actually address this problem. Right? So we came up with this app which we call Guardian. We just released it a few months back. What this app does is it's basically a simple companion on your phone. It has got multiple modes where, say you are in a remote area and you feel unsafe for whatever reasons, you can sort of just click one button and it starts tracking you and it starts sending your location coordinates back to a central server. If you notice anything like there are some guys coming towards you or you feel uncomfortable or there's some teasing happening, you can press a button and it dispatches a note to the local police office, which is now got this installed. We've got this installed in 3 cities already, including Hyderabad, Gurgaon, and one more, where it then takes that data and they can dispatch a patrol van back to that location to go look at what's going on. If you feel like something's really going wrong, you can just press one button and it sends out 5 SMSs to people you've selected, but then also starts coordinating, actually broadcasting your location to those people and doesn't stop broadcasting even if you switch off the phone. Right? It basically runs in the background on the phone and you'll keep doing that till the point you switch it off. And there are a few other features, right? Effectively, it's a perfect application of SMAC. It's a device on the phone connected to this thing, connected to a social setup, analyzing lots of data to be able to put it to good use. There will be 50,000 downloads of this app, and we only have it on the Windows platform right now. We're working on the Android and the iPhone versions of it right now. But this is an example of, again, where you can use the technology and the SMAC and this to be able to transform lives in a very social manner as well. Right? So again, the hope and the goal that I had today was to be able to talk about these 4 mega trends. Talk about how they are interconnected. Talk about how they open up a world of opportunity and possibilities, not just for end consumers, because I showed you a couple of examples which are end consumers, but also within the enterprise. How do you actually start looking at within your enterprises or within IT departments or as you go into your customers to try and understand what are the problems they're facing. You can actually spend a good amount of time looking through these and trying to figure out how can we offer solutions we've never seen before, right? So that's my pitch. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience.
It was a very interesting presentation. Loved it. And what you have spoken, probably we're going to see 5 years down the line, probably 3 years down the line. But what is your vision of 2064, 50 years from now?
the whole point was about that the rate of change has so drastically accelerated over the last few years. It's impossible for an Einstein or an Asimov also to go and actually answer those questions now, right? Because there are a variety of reasons why that's the case. But we're lucky if we can predict trends 5 years down the line right now. It's just not happening, right? And stuff like this, you thought this was rocket science a few years back. That concept video, we have a bunch of concept videos at Microsoft. You go to microsoft.com/office, I think. You can see this next generation Office videos where they show exactly the same kind of stuff, right? Everything is on boards and you're doing that. The challenge is they're not concept videos anymore. We're doing those kinds of things, right? The amount of research we've done, for example, into just taking technology into your kitchens. It's become scary, where when you're cooking something, your screen surface now is actually reading out the recipe for you, and it's telling you that the temperature here is supposed to be 120 degrees. You have it at 110. Lower it down right now. Right? It's telling you you have not added enough salt because you can see the pH in the water, and it can gauge based on that you need it to be more salty, and so on. Right, and then obviously you've all seen those demos and ads, but now we recently actually showcased something at a consumer fair, which was about basically your fridge telling you that you've run out of these supplies, right? And I'm ordering them, and it's going to a vendor and it's coming in and getting stocked, right? So you're literally those kinds of technologies were a dream just a few years ago. Now they're getting implemented, right? The smart fridges are getting manufactured right now. We're not sort of talking about concepts, we're talking about manufacturing them right now, the smart cars that we're talking about. So the rate of change of technology is, I think, only constrained by our imagination now, not by technology anymore. Right? And so if you can imagine stuff like this, you can do it. Right? If you can imagine a toothpaste or a toothbrush or whatever, you can actually make it happen. Right? There was a question there? You can
security of your personal information.
Yeah.
Be it Facebook, be it Google,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
virtual reality.
Yeah.
What are the steps taken by Microsoft or probably your company towards that?
Yeah, so in fact, in the interest of time, I usually, when I do this presentation, I've been doing this international, is a company by the name of Target. I don't know if any one of you has sort of been tracking what Target's been doing. What happened with Target? I'm sorry? Identity, credit fraud. Okay, yeah. How many? 40 million. Okay. So basically what happened was Target has these point of sales terminals, right, where basically you swipe your card and do a bunch of stuff. What they did was they implemented, the way they implemented their software was you basically slide your card, it makes a virtual image of the card effectively, right, and then it stores all of that, and at the end of the day, it transmits all of that data to a backend server for processing and caching and so on. And these brilliant kids out of nowhere came in and inserted a virus right there at that point in that transmission, so that when it was transmitting back to the mothership in Target, it was also sending a side copy of that somewhere else. About 40 million plus accounts got hacked as a result. Right? And then they found out that Target's not the only one who's been using the same point of sale terminal technology. They were the first to get discovered. Neiman Marcus stood up very quickly and said, you know what, I think we've been hacked as well. And then there are 3-4 others which have actually not made much news, but quickly and quietly replaced their systems with new ones and with updated software. Now, for Target, the cost of one such hack and the sort of the damage that it causes for them is about $40 to $60. So you can do the math. $40 or $60 times, this 40 plus million is a big chunk of money. Not to mention, the amount they will lose because of customer loyalty and so on and so forth. Target basically shortly after that reached a 52-week low. They ended up, having to pre-announce their results and talk about sort of some challenges there. They ended up, a lot of their wages, employees are on contract labor. They basically stopped. Can we please have you stop talking for a second? Thank you. Right? They actually had a bunch of their contract labor. They basically shut down healthcare for those people, so they couldn't afford healthcare. So now a simple security hack is impacting people's lives, right? And this is an institution over several decades that is just going through such a harrowing experience right now, all because of simple hacks. So yes, the challenges with all of these things is also there are no boundaries. Earlier, you could have a very clear perimeter, which is off campus, on campus, off your corporate, on your corporate, and suddenly your life is very simple. There are no boundaries right now. And so you have to be very careful when you're using some of these technologies also. You have to talk about privacy. You have to talk about data security. And I'm glad to see that there is a lot of work that's happening in there also. Right? There is a lot of emphasis being put on doing stuff securely. We internally also we have the same challenges because it's not the systems that we build are not only internal. Our partners use it, some of our end customers use them, and so on. And you don't want one partner seeing the data from another partner, and so on. So we've got a whole mature sort of practice around how do we sort of focus on security and privacy. And if you look at the number of hacks or hack attacks that happen on Microsoft.com on a daily basis, it runs into millions. There are 1 million plus attacks on a Microsoft site every day, and that's not just Microsoft, every other site, right? Because people want to get in because you've got an $80 billion revenue stream. They want to figure out how to actually make a pie out of that through some information. So you have to enforce that, right? And luckily, thanks to nowadays, even in engineering colleges, there's a big focus on. I really need you guys to shut up for some time, please. Yeah. So there's this big focus on there's this big focus on in your engineering curriculums also on security and privacy, which is I think very mainstream. So I think overall, and again, this is where we have to reskill ourselves. Right? We've been actually sending all of our engineers back to those classes to be able to make sure that they understand security, privacy, and the impact of that as well.
Just to link it with the Ravi's presentation also, there we were talking about in next 2 years 4.6 million jobs.
प्राइमरी का ऑर्डर क्या है वो थोड़ा एडिशनली बेस्ड
Correct? So if you see that the example like history, which can be given in different forms. In the last cloud company we were talking about like how the mainframe is nothing but it is renamed as cloud. Means somewhere cloud is sitting, the infrastructure, the application, and everything is available now at your service. Similarly, I think we can talk about what is business excellence. Can somebody tell me what is business? Do you want to define it? Two simple words, business means?
Making profit.
That is carried out to achieve a particular target.
Fantastic. Anybody?
Make money.
Simple layman word of business.
Buyer, seller.
Buyer, seller, I give something, I get something. Simple word is I give something. Talking about our barter system, old barter system, I come back to here. Means if I do something, I give something, I'll get some value-added service or a product or application or something for my usage to improve my business again. So what is excellence?
How you can maximize that outcome?
Okay, maximum fantastic. Anybody else? Want to try?
Bring the best out of
When our kid is actually doing some job, we'll say excellent. What is the meaning of excellent means?
Better than expected.
Better than expected. And secondly,
Better than the average. Or maybe-
average means there is some benchmark, and you want to say you have done better than that. Then it is excellent, correct? But nowadays, in any of these all the calls, you have virtual calls with so many people sitting in US, UK. Anything you say excellent, then the word it comes. Actually means you are demeaning the word called as the word excellent. But we need to really take it in a better way. Coming back to excellence, I won't have two words to use, and one is efficiency and effectiveness. So what is the difference between the two? Can somebody tell me the difference between effectiveness and efficiency?
Efficiency is,
Yeah, last one.
doing the right things, and the other one is doing things rightly.
Okay, not okay. I'm not convinced.
So efficiency is doing with the less resources, and effectiveness is like increasing the value instead of.
Okay,
or doing
you are very near to that. Effectiveness and efficiency both will give the same result. But efficiency, actually doing the same work with minimal resources.
Minimum.
Using minimal resources, if you have done something, then you are really
Efficient. more.
efficiency. Hence we call it as operational efficiency. Means how can you do a better, getting the same output using minimal resources, and we call it as operational efficiency. Am I saying right things?
Yes.
Are we all saying? Fantastic. So with this, we'll move on. As you were talking about, this is a disclaimer. It is supposedly I have to put it in every presentation. This is my company policy. Means whatever we say here is nothing related to Oracle, and whatever we say here is based on personal experience and nothing can be quoted, blah 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 blah. Okay? With this, we'll proceed. Okay, looking at the business excellence journey, we'll talk about excellence framework, what are the drivers, enablers. I think many of you have seen so many business excellence frameworks. How many of you have seen frameworks on business excellence? We may do some things in our day-to-day life, but when you do the same thing repeatedly, it gets habituated, it becomes a habit, and you can do it in a more efficient way. That's what actually is telling, and I think we're all practicing. They say efficiency of a painter increases when he paints the same kind of one hotel room. He may take, let us say, 5 hours. When he does 40 rooms, if you go and measure at the end of the 40th room and he does it, he may do it in 2.5 hours. Why? Because when doing this same work repeatedly, he gained an experience and he understood what were the lacunas he was not doing properly, and he overcome those things. And at the 40th room when he was doing the painting, he was able to do it in 2.5 hours. And that is nothing but, again, efficiency, okay, or excellence. We'll move on. We'll try to see how the journey can happen, and every organization has gone through this kind of journey. Okay? Identify where you are and define where you want to be. This is from a leadership angle or a strategy angle. Define what, by when, and how you want to achieve it. Means I'm going to say, this is what I want to achieve. Can somebody correlate me some of these things? What, when, and you, and how? What it can be called in management wordings.
5W1H.
Okay? Some more?
Smart goals.
Smart goals. I think we can use all business terminology, means acronyms. Like MBOs, KPIs, all these things can come over here. And measure what you achieved and improvise. Nothing but PDCF, training principle, what you can apply that. Huh?
DMAIC also it calls it.
BMI, good. Define, plan, execute, and fantastic. Great. So this is the governance model. It is, it is a mixture of so many models which have been there in the internet. Probably somebody will say this is relates to X or Y or Z, but this is what actually, it is neither Oracle nor is of XYZ. We created this based on our experience. Means it is my and Sundar's experience. We brought this up. I think how many of you have heard of MBO and MBO? What is MBO?
Management by objectives.
Management by
Objectives.
objectives. MBU means? Today the buzzword is management by universe.
Wow.
Okay? Management by objectives are driven by management by universe. Means there is a recession in, let us say, in Europe or in US, but you are a startup company, but you want to do the same thing. But earlier, any startup company could have achieved its results in 1 year down the line. But today, because of the universe, you may get affected. Okay, hence we say the market conditions, the regulation or the competition, etc., they are the universe which are going to affect you if you want to do any business. Okay, hence we say the MBUs are going to affect you how you really want to do your put up your framework. Okay. So let us try to understand we are having some drivers, enablers, and achievers. So in drivers, we talk about the leadership, stakeholder expectations, MBOs, KPIs, and all these things can come up here. And you can think of the enablers and achievements. I think each one of you can correlate whatever you want from this to your individual organization. You can correlate to that. If you are in the department of probably in HR or in administration or in operations or consulting delivery, you can correlate to this. How many of you are from consulting delivery? I think we are having a very less number of delivery people here. Good. Can you please raise your hand, full hand? We are still.
We have done in the past, so.
So what is consulting delivery? Means, who is a consultant? I will go to basic. Who is a consultant?
Consultant who is like an external person who, without being a part of the system,
Okay.
can suggest something or facilitate something to
Correct.
improve.
On a jocular note, we can say a consultant will come and say and ask you, what are you doing? What is your problem? What are the 3 things you have done? I will try to understand from you what all you have done and where is the problem. You can just go into your Vastu Shastragna. Okay, you'll come, you'll see your house, and you will say, what are your problems? Okay, what has happened in the last 3 months or last 3 years? And then he will say, as per our architecture, this one, I think you are having these 3 defects here, and if you can improvise on these 3 things by spending X amount, by doing 3 yajnas, you will be able to achieve your satisfaction. It is not going to change your future, it is not going to change anything. It is only your mental ability or mental happiness. You change that. And a consultant is one who is going to give you the same kind of advice